My name is Pauline Ackerman, and I'm here to give my presentation on autism. Recently, March the 20th, 2013, CNN had put on a release statement that the Centers of Disease and Control Prevention have released the report that 1 in 50 students now have autism. It was stated that 1 in 88 last year had autism. The report came from parents via telephone conversation from children 6 to 17 years of age. The one in last year was from the medical records of the students in 4 areas of the United States, and it was in 2008. This is a concern statistic. It made me think, what are we doing to help these people with autism? I did a literary review to show the need for improved learning programs for individuals with autism. I have been a substitute teacher in the Austintown school system since 2001. I have taught in special education classrooms, and my experiences have prompted me to look further into this situation. In this presentation, we will discuss successful interventions, unsuccessful interventions, training, and I will pose a hypothesis to improve the learning environment of individuals with autism. Successful interventions have been established by Schneider, 2010, and McCarthy et al., 2008. Schneider in the journal Children with Autism can be taught to ask and answer where questions, looking at improving learning habits of students from age 2 to 8 by teaching these students to ask where questions. An object would be hidden, and after prompting, the child would find the object. First they would ask, where is it? And the adult would explain, under the chair, and the student would find the object. Interestingly, unprompted questions were asked, adding to the student's vocabulary and verbal interaction. Beginning at 0%, students increased to 92% to 100%. Also, McCarthy et al. In the journal Integrating Music into Small Group Book Reading Activities increases the engagement of students with autism, focused on student engagement. His study discloses sustained eye contact and joint attention is difficult for your students with autism. Students ages 6 to 11 in their special education classroom were engaged in interactive book reading with music playing in the background. Engagement, which is establishing and maintaining eye contact, substantially increased. This is great. What a positive step towards social interaction for these young students. Similarly, Ogletree 2007 and Gantz 2007 have successfully conducted interventions. Ogletree in the journal Children with Autism Spectrum Disorders can learn to label actions without requiring verbal prompting. Directed a study in the therapy room of a special education school for students ages 7 to 11 to learn to label an action, such as sleeping, without a substitute word. By labeling actions simultaneously, then omitting the word, students will learn to label the action. This contributed to generalized labeling, and all 6 children finished the study successfully. Further, Gantz in the Journal of a Script Fading Procedure shows potential for increasing context-appropriate emphatic statements with some adolescents with autism. He used a script fading procedure where the last word of a sentence was omitted. The first word of a sentence was omitted until you finally have a blank card. There were 3 students ages 11 to 14. The scripting to unscripting will address and assist in social skill deficits. This is a problem for your autistic students or students with autism. This study was conducted in the regular classroom, and it also was successful. Okay. However, unsuccessful interventions have been established by Cheyenne et al. 2008 and Rivers et al. 2010. Cheyenne in the Journal of Autism and Development Disorders studied joint attention, which is one of the individual alerts another to an object by means of eye gazing, looking into another's eyes. 3 types of nonverbal communication tested were joint attention, social interaction, and requesting or asking someone to do something. Included were 104 participants, 28 students with autism, 24 students with development delay, 27 13-month-old students who were developing, and 25 18 to 20-month preschoolers diagnosed with autism. In the test, the children held a toy, alternately looking at the tester's face, pointing to the toy, and holding the toy to the tester. Children diagnosed with autism of 2 to 3 years of age exhibited deficits in joint attention and high-level skills. Young children with autism had a nonverbal communication profile. It was not similar when you compare this to the other 3 groups. The results clearly expressed a pattern of deviant development in young autistic children regarding various types of nonverbal communication. In other words, there was not much increase in their ability for nonverbal communication. Also, Rivers et al. In the Journal of the conclusion that ABI has inconclusive effects for children with autism may stem from the fact that there are few high-quality studies. He conducted a study analyzing several studies from 1982 to 2007 for 18-month-old to 6-year-olds. These are students with autism. The selection included applied behavior intervention, and this is it includes your direct management and parent education. These are your parents trying to educate their students. Also, they had random trials in disorders, other types of disorders. The study looked at flaws in the design and environmental change. Cognitive, adaptive behavior, and language were also analyzed as to the effectiveness of the intervention. Regarding the limited amount of information, the results that did not show applied behavior, this is with your parents in the home, did not provide a significant effect on improving the cognition, language, or adaptive behavior with the students who have autism. Okay, furthermore, Smith-Gabig, 2008, and Riches et al., 2010, explored interventions that were also unsuccessful. Smith-Gabig in the Journal of Verbal Working Memory and Story Retelling of School-Age Children with Autism recruited students ages 4 to 14. And they test the working memory, the verbal working memory. This is which stores and processes information, and retelling a story in a new way. Students with autism had a much lower score in their verbal working memory. They were below performance for their age. Your typically developing children were consistent for the mean score of their age. Children with autism scored below average in non-word repetition. This is the ability to repeat multi-syllable nonsense words, but they also scored higher on working memory. The students also have difficulty storing and processing information, and this remains as a difficult task as they move into adolescence. Likewise, Riches et al. In the International Journal of Language and Communication Disorders investigated group and complexity. Using complex arrangement of words and phrases, respondents were to make true and false statements according to the sentences. Results showed impairment yet in complex syntax, the words and the phrases that they were supposed to put together, sentence repetition, and identifying errors. There was not much success in that. But Schwartz et al., 2008, in the Language and Speech Services in School, described some deficits in training through his diagnostic survey on autism for speech-language pathologists. More attention needs to be placed on the education, instruction, and/or discipline of teaching a person a particular skill or a particular behavior. Teachers with 1 week or 2 weeks of training in undergraduate courses and little or no training in diagnosis knowledge needs to be addressed in order to effectively teach communication disorders, which is the core of autism. Respondents to this survey revealed that speech-language pathologists do not feel confident in their teaching role. To illustrate, we will return to the first hypothesis, which is small and familiar settings predict positive results. Well, according to Schneider 2010, McCarthy 2008, Ogletree 2007, and Gantz 2007, the interventions that were conducted were in small and familiar classrooms. They were successful. In addition, let's look at the second hypothesis, which supports specific programs in autism will influence learning. It was found that the teachers are not familiar with diagnosis, and they desire more training to give them the confidence and knowledge they need. How can they teach students with autism with 1 or 2 weeks of training in undergraduate courses? To sum up, we have looked at successful and unsuccessful interventions. We have talked about training that people have to go through in order to, these are my hypotheses, in order to learn to become a speech pathologist teacher. And we have come up with 2 hypotheses that supported these studies that we know will work. Indeed, we as a society moving forward have a responsibility to provide all students equality in education. Students with autism begin their educational journey with communication disorders and the inability to make reasonable decisions based on information pertaining to self and others. Therefore, it is vitally important that we not only provide that interventions that produce effective results, but take precautionary measures to ensure our teachers have proper training to reach all students with disabilities. And as you know, 1 in 50 students today, according to the new report from CNN, have been diagnosed with autism, and it is more prevalent among young boys. Thank you.